Alright guys, since my internet was messing up and it wasn't working right and we were having a hard time hearing each other, I'm just gonna make this video and I'm gonna post them in whatever subject we're working on. So let's go to science. Okay, and we are doing lesson 8, animals and the environment. And remember, we are in science lesson 8, okay? All right, so lesson 8, animals in the environment. We're going to describe what animals need from their ecosystem to live, and we're going to describe how animals help and change the environment. So Mr. Brown looks out at his yard and he sees another molehill. "I'm going to get you," he yells. "Stop tearing up my yard." So what animals need? Animals, like plants and other organisms, need certain things from their ecosystem to survive. A lawn, like Mr. Brown's, provides a place for a mole to dig and live. Let's review what animals need to survive. Water. Animals cannot live without water. Food. Animals need something to eat. If an animal only eats one certain type of plant, that plant needs to be found in its ecosystem. Panda bears only like to eat baby bamboo plants. Panda bears must live in a place that has many bamboo trees. If an animal eats other animals, the animal that gets eaten must be in the predator's ecosystem in order for the predator to survive. An owl cannot survive in a forest if there are only trees and no other animals to eat. Shelter. Animals need a place to sleep and to nest. Some animals need protection from their predators. Some birds only build their nests in certain types of trees. It will be hard for a bird to live in a place that does not have the right kind of trees. Oxygen. Animals need to breathe in oxygen. Animals that live on land breathe oxygen from the air, and animals that live in the water breathe in oxygen from the water. Sometimes, especially in water, pollution can cause oxygen levels to drop. If oxygen levels get too low, many fish and other animals need to die. Now, to keep in mind, animals need food, water, air, and shelter to survive in an ecosystem. So, changing the environment. Animals also like to change their environment. Let's look at a few examples of how animals change their environment. Beavers make dams, which make ponds. Moles make tunnels in the ground. Termites make nests out of soil and sand. And animals that live in herds and grasslands help the grass grow. All the running and trampling by buffalo helps spread seed and break up the soil. Grasslands that do not have herds trampling throughout them do not do as well as those areas that get a stampede. So here's a picture of an actual termite nest. And here is a picture of some buffalo roaming around trampling on some dirt. So changing a community. Remember from the previous lesson that a community is all the different plants and animals that live together in the same place. Sometimes one animal population can change a whole community. Let's look at look at the snakehead fish as an example. The snakehead fish is a top predator. The fish eats other animals. They feed on small amphibians and fish. They eat so much that the animals they eat cannot keep their population levels high enough to survive. They also eat so much that other fish do not have enough to eat. These other fish populations also might get too low to survive. Even if a snakehead fish does not eat a certain type of frog, it does not leave the frog with anything to eat. The frog population might not survive. The snakehead fish is originally from the Asian continent. The snakehead fish was most likely brought to the United States by a pet owner or by somebody who wanted to raise it for food. This fish can change the community in lakes and ponds across the United States. Scientists are working to try to remove the snakehead fish from lakes and ponds. So just like we learned about the lizards on Lizard Island, um, these fish kind of have done the same thing. All right, so what four things do animals need from their ecosystem to survive? We talked about it. Food, oxygen, shelter, carbon, or water. So which of those four things do they need? Number two, how have the prairie dogs in this picture changed their environment? They have lighter colored fur. They have made no changes to their environment, or they made many holes or tunnels in the ground. So which one did they do? Select two ways snakehead fish can affect animal population. They have no effect on animal population. They eat so much that other fish do not have enough to eat. They eat so much that animals they eat cannot keep their population levels high enough to survive. Or they eat so little that other fish have enough to eat. They eat so little that animals can keep their populations high enough to survive. Now, this one is they eat so much that other fish do not have enough to eat, and they eat so much that the animals they eat cannot keep their population levels high enough. So that's the answer for that one. All right, it says select the picture that shows an elephant getting something it needs to survive. So select the pictures. So it's more than one. Okay, so which one of these is the air animal getting something that it needs? So we know it needs shelter, we know it needs food, we know it needs water. It doesn't necessarily need air because air is oxygen, right? Do you remember it said we need food, water, air, and shelter? Food, water. Oh, you're right. It does need air. Look at me making a mistake. So air, it also needs air. Okay, so all of these are correct. All right, number five, which of these is an example of an animal changing its environment? A zebra feeds its foal. All of these. A squirrel digs a hole to bury a nut, or a bear hibernates in a winter. So, which one of those is an example of an animal changing its environment? Number six, which of these is an example of an animal changing its environment? An earthworm moves soil underground. All of these, or a woodpecker drills a hole in a tree, or a beaver makes a dam. So, which one of these, maybe even all of these, which one of these is correct? So, whenever you guys get finished with that, you just click submit and then move on to your next lesson. Alrighty.